I think this is the first time I'm standing on the deck of the boat, which is a lot easier, I have to say, than balancing on top of the beams. Hi, I'm Ben.
And I'm MP, and we just bought a boat that needs a little bit of work done.
We are both rookies when it comes to boat ownership and carpentry, so this is going to be a steep learning curve.
Luckily, we found an amazing team of shipwrights who accepted the mission of bringing our boat back to life, and are now rebuilding Yabá with hand tools, ancient knowledge, and a lot of passion.
Join us on this thrilling journey and wish us luck. So first day back since this last plank has been put in. It feels amazing because we've always been doing the work that we're going to do this week and next week because we had to wait for this plank to arrive, or planks even. But just continuing the work, knowing the hole's shut, is just a completely different feeling. In some ways it's a lot more relaxing and relieving, even though it doesn't really change much because it's not like we can go in the water anyway.
Para poder aumentar ele pouco. Aceita.
So by bringing the lines of this plank all the way to the edge here, we're only taking a tiny bit of this sapwood over here, and that's the little bit that's at an angle, so by actually flattening it, there won't be any left on this plank. So this last cover board is on, and over there they're putting the last stainless steel bars through the beams holding it in place. And of course it leaves these little holes where the nuts are still in. So what I've been doing over there on the other side is I've just been covering it with an epoxy, mixed with sawdust to make it a kind of wood, and it's been doing well. I've still got to sand some bits off, but it's a lot of epoxy, and it also kind of just slides down. So I've seen in Leo's last video that he's been making plugs, so I've started to make some plugs. All I did was cut some of these cylinders out of the wood and use a Fastening bit as well to cut a hole through the middle to go around the nut. Now they aren't all centered, some of them are, some of them aren't, but also lots of these holes in this covering plank are also not centered, so there's no point me measuring up everything to see if everything was centered. So what's going to happen now is I've got this epoxy that I'm going to use to glue them in. So I'm going to make this epoxy, tip some into the holes, and then hammer these in. Of course, see if they fit first before I hammer them in, because like for example this hole is more to this side, and over here you can see it's more to this side, so of course I have to turn it to make sure it fits nicely. So I think my first attempt at these plugs is not a catastrophe. Of course we have to cut the tops off and see what they look like, and of course the worst case scenario is I can just fill them up more with that epoxy, and like they end up like this. I don't know if you can tell, there's one there. Ooh, almost fell there. There's one there, and yeah, some of them are even invisible without the plugs and just the epoxy. So worst case scenario, if the glue is sunk down a bit or it's not even, of course you can put some more epoxy on the top, sand it off, and it'll look like new. So if you look behind me, we've got this entire starboard cover plank on, and you might notice there's some strange looking little rails over here. Now these are of course temporary, but they are to show where the ones will come in future. So all these holes here have been made. Now of course the bulwark has to go all the way around, and of course can't stick out a bit and in a bit and out a bit and in a bit. So what's going to happen first is these are putting in temporarily. It's just some scrap wood that's come off the parts of wood that we have already put on the boat. So they're currently being held on with some simple nails, and with a batten we can then go around it, making sure none of them are sticking out too much or in too much. One more little thing, you can see these plugs over here are I've actually cut off, and they fit nicely. I'm expecting there to be a bit more space in between the plug and this cover plank a bit in a bit, but we can just cover that with some of that epoxy putty or epoxy, and that should be nice and flush. And we're going to paint over this anyway, so it's going to be nice and flush, and I'm quite happy with these. So typically now that we can finally get the work going, it starts raining. I hope it doesn't last for long, as in days. I hope it's just a temporary thing and we can start again later today or tomorrow. The good thing is now we're working on deck planks, as even though it's raining, we can come in here and start cutting up all these planks to fit nicely against the, oh, I'm never going to remember this word, the cover plank, cover board. So these are now in place. Of course, I'm going to lift them up first. We'll clean up under it, make sure there's no more sawdust or that it's not wet anymore as the sun's come out, which is nice. And now, then we'll nail it on. But now, let's go and have a look at what's happening with these bulwark columns or pillars. The deck's coming along amazingly, and it's really nice to be standing on something solid. Over there, these cabezas are going to be installed already. So they're being planed back, so they were cut a few millimeters too big, so that you can always plane it back here and it fits nice and tightly. The next deck plank coming on is the one going more to the starboard side around the entrance hatch over here. So that template's been made already, and then they are going to be start building it more to that side.
Of deck to step on, because before it was quite dangerous, and now I can even dance. You probably noticed already that our boards of the deck are not all single boards. We have like a wider board with a fake line in the middle. So here is a real line, then a fake one, a real one, and a fake one. We made it so it looks nice with thinner boards, but then we don't have so many water infiltration opportunities, so it's wider, less gaps, but looks just as nice. The way this is going to go, the real gaps are going to be real caulked and then sealed, and these fake gaps we're just going to add the sealant so it looks alike, but it doesn't need caulking because it's just a little fake thing. And we are all very happy about this primer that the neighbor got us. I mean, it was his leftover, he didn't need it anymore, so we got it, because now we have a little bit of color already. And green, at least here in Brazil, we call it the hope color, so we are very excited about this. Cabezas are making, and I'm loving it. I know we don't have that many now, when we have more we can really see, but this shape that the boat is starting to get, I love it.
So now that we have actually laid some deck down, you might be able to see what these were for. These little like little floor planks that go inside the beams, going all across. So yes, they are so we can nail the tips of the planks into it, so they're not just hanging loose. Also, when the moment comes to put some caulking in between here, the caulking will stop here and not just fall all the way down. So just so you know what this fishing line is, at the bow it's easy to make sure all the planks are nicely aligned or matching. To know where the planks have to go along the starboard deck, we're pulling a line from the bow, or at least one of the planks slightly more starboard at the bow, all the way back. That's what Nico's doing, and then Nizzle is going past with a pen, making sure this line is tight, drawing on the beams exactly where the line is going on top of. So later, when the planks are being cut, we know to have where to lay them in order for them to be nice and straight. The word I'm looking for in English is evenredig in Dutch. So they're all even-side-ish. Parallel, that's the word I was looking for. So to me it looks like this bow deck, forward deck looks alright, but I think this is where the difficult part comes in, because all these deck planks are going to have to hook into each other over here. So this is going to come there and hook, and same for each one of them. So I think that is going to require some extra cut and some extra measuring, but it'll be super watertight if it's been caulked well and maintained well, but also it'll look really nice.
So now is the moment of truth, because our supervisor is going to test the deck. Hey Caio, do you approve?
I think he's afraid of heights. He's staying really low and he's afraid of slipping. It's quite slow.
Aww.
So the one they're working on right now and the one laying behind it are the last deck planks that we have, which is fine because there's plenty of this wood here nearby. It's the thick planks, we have timbers we have to worry about, but here's the last two, maybe three. We can fit a narrow one in, and then we can start working on more of the columns for the bulwark. So move over here. Just as what the deck planks ran out, we received 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. They're huge, so we're going to be able to make a lot of those columns. The tallest ones have been made already. It's going to slope down to where the windows will be, and then up again towards aft. So these will be a lot shorter, and we'll be able to make a lot more with a lot less wood. These will be a bit shorter, and to slope down a bit and to stay low, and we'll turn some columns, put on top of them to make it safe for us still and look nice.
Before we say bye, we would like to really thank everyone who has joined us last week for our celebration of our last plank, our whiskey plank. We felt very loved and very happy that you guys also got happy for us and our haul. So thank you so much for all the lovely comments and for participating with us.
And before we leave you here, we'd like to also thank everyone who's joined us on Patron. Thank you, Kirkflies.
Thank you, Regan.
Thank you, Toby.
Thank you, Kai.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Bill.
And thank you everyone who's joined us on or helped us out through PayPal as well. So thank you, Marcus, and get well soon.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, William.